Hey guys. Hey, Anna Brooks here. How you doing? Say hi if you're there. I was on just literally like a second ago, but it kicked me off. So I'm hoping that this time it lets me stay on. All right, cool. So I want to see if I can get this any higher, but probably not. I'm forever battling with different lighting in here because I'm always like directly under this light, and it's just if you've ever tried to figure out lighting, you'll know that being directly under a light is not fantastic, but we'll make do. Right? So say hi if you're there, and say what you're doing right now, what you're up to, and maybe why you're on here, right? So I've got something really, really cool to talk to you about today. It's almost like a kind of workshop, I guess. But really it's kind of just to get some information out to you, which I feel like it's just as much as it's so obvious to me, and this is where I kind of know sometimes where I'm not really explaining things properly, or I'm maybe not getting out to as many people as I want to with this, because I see it still coming up all the time. And it's just so obvious to me that it just still baffles me that people don't get this, right? But I understand it's not obvious to everyone. So this is why I'm here, to make this really, really obvious. Let's talk about toning, okay? So obviously coming from a fitness background myself and from the personal training side of things, right? For me, I understand what toning actually is. For a lot of people, they don't. They think that toning just means that's when you sort of get a little bit more definition, where things aren't as jiggly, when things are just smaller and tighter and that kind of thing. That's basically what most people think of in terms of tone. But what most people don't realize is what is actually involved, why things get toned, okay? And so a lot of people will come to a gym and they will join a gym because, well, they'll understand that you can't really get toned. The part that they do grasp is that you need to go to a gym, or you need to do some kind of exercise to get toned, that you can't get toned from just diet, right? That you can lose fat from diet, but you can't actually get toned. And while that's great that they've grasped that part of it, the part that's not so awesome, and the part that just kind of goes over everyone's head, and it's not their fault because it's just not educated enough, and with the 50 billion bunch of crap bullshit. Oh my God, don't even get me started. Infomercials out there telling you that by standing on this vibrating disc, you're going to get toned or some fucking crap. Whew. Okay, it gets me worked up. Need to have some water. Okay, so I understand where the confusion is coming from, because unfortunately there is a lot of that kind of misrepresentation of the industry going on, because people are trying to make a quick buck everywhere, right? And unfortunately it's working because people also want quick fixes. So when people decide they don't want quick fixes, these people making a quick buck won't have the same impact, but that's never going to happen, right? So I'm going to tell you the truth here. I'm going to break it down for you, and I'm going to hopefully get this out to as many people as I can. Okay, this lighting is really starting to annoy me, so I might... All right, let me see if I can open up the window and maybe just get the lighting to look slightly different. I'll be right back. Okay, cool. That's a little bit better. Oh, sorry. Okay. There we go, we're back. All right, and that's a little bit better. That's actually got the natural light coming in. Much better. I look normal now. All right. So, let me break this down for you. When most people join a gym, and or they start on an exercise program, I talk about joining a gym because I happen to love training in a gym, so that's just what works for me. But a lot of people do join a gym, and they come and they, maybe if they really want some help, they'll come and see someone, and they'll go, yep, so my main goal is to tone. I want to get toned. I want to tone, right? And I understand why they use that word, because it's the only one that they understand, right? So that's fine. However, then comes the tricky part of whether the trainer that they're with is actually going to bother to go into this explanation, which I'm about to. And it kind of depends as well on the person. You judge the person whether or not they're actually going to listen to you, because you do get to a certain stage in the industry where you're like, well, why am I wasting all this time and all this energy on someone who's just going to kind of smile and nod and then go do their own thing anyway and just go buy the weight loss shakes and imagine that and jumping on a treadmill a few times a week is going to get them toned. And you can tell from someone straight away, and this is a whole other stream that I'm going to do about the joy of, you can tell someone exactly what they need to do and they will just hear what they want to hear anyway. And they will just go do what they want to do anyway, which I understand because I do that all the time. However, I do it with my success in mind, not just my hopes and dreams that quick fixes exist, right? So, let's break it down here. This is what I would tell this person and this is what I will tell you. If you have joined a gym, if you have been going regularly for, even anything over sort of a month, I would say, and regularly, I mean, like, you'd need to be going maybe 4 times a week to be getting good results within a month, right? Any less than that, and you're kind of not really going to be getting the quick results that you want, and it'll still get there, but it just might take a couple more months, right? That's the point A, I guess, that you need to take out of this. Point A is it takes time, right? Tone takes time. So if you're hoping that you can come in and you can go for a month and you can come in 2 or 3 times a week and you're going to get toned, not going to happen. Sorry, just realistically, that's not how our body works. It requires you to work hard to get that, and it requires you to do it consistently with effort. Twice a week, that's like, what if you did something else twice a week? If you practiced piano twice a week, do you expect that in a month you'd be getting really good? No, probably not. So same kind of thing when it comes to your body. Like it's plain and simple, right? I'm going to be drinking lots of water on this live stream, I've decided, because I just had a coffee. All right, so that's point A, is that it takes time. But point B, more than likely, you're not doing the right exercise for it. And this is a problem when people come in, and obviously the cardio equipment and the group fitness classes look the easiest in terms of mastering, which is fair enough. You're nervous, you don't know what to do. The weights stuff always looks a bit more complicated. You don't really know what you're doing. And look, a lot of the time, there's a lot of people doing stuff on the weights that they just really shouldn't, because they're either just completely imbalanced in terms of working particular areas of their body more than the other, and they're going to end up with postural, if not injuries, but definitely postural imbalances. Or therefore they jump onto, the treadmills, the cross trainers, the bikes, the steppers, and then go do some group fitness classes as well. And even ones such as Body Pump, which, by the way, I'm certified in and I've taught for many years in the past. Even classes like that, which are obviously weights-based in the sense that you have a barbell and you're training with that, it's really important to understand that this is not what is going to get you toned. And the reason for that is this. To get tone, you need to have muscle. You cannot flex fat. Therefore, you cannot get toned without having a basis of good muscle underneath there. Otherwise, all you're going to do, if you don't have a good basis of muscle, obviously you have some, you're alive, so you have some muscle. But if you want to get toned in the sense that you're going to see that muscle definition to whatever degree you want, it doesn't mean that you have to be really, really shredded if that's not what you want. But in order to see some definition, in order to look slimmer in particular areas, in order to shape, that's the other word that people use, shape, you need to actually have a decent amount of muscle under there. If you've never done any weight training, seriously, you're not going to have that kind of muscle under there. It's just not going to be there for you. And therefore, you're going to need to start it. When you come in and you just jump on the cardio, all you're doing is burning a little bit of fuel, basically, which is going to be a bit of carbohydrates, a bit of fats, not likely to be burning your muscle, which is good. But it depends, again, how much of it you're doing, right? But as you're doing this, you're jumping on, you're burning lots of calories, you're burning lots of fuel. So yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of fat because you're using more energy, but your body's going to adapt very quickly to it. So it's going to basically get used to that amount of energy as a basis, and therefore, in order to lose any more fat, you're going to have to do more and more and more and more. So you've come from doing your 45 minutes twice a week to now 3 times a week to now 4 times a week to now 7 times a day. Okay, maybe not 7 times a day, but you get my drift with it, right? You got to keep increasing that amount of effort because your body gets used to it, it adapts. And this is a good thing because this is actually your body getting fitter. So it's doing this as a favor to you because it doesn't understand that your main goal is fat loss, right? It just thinks that you want to get fitter, and so it's getting fitter for you. It's adapting to this level of exercise, and it's making it that you can work even harder and harder and harder to get that same amount of effort, basically, right? So ideally, if you've done all of this and you're working out and you're doing lots and lots of stuff, the best case scenario is you'll become a slightly smaller version of the shape you are right now, which if you had wanted to tone, if that was part of your goal, as opposed to just, you're 30 kilos overweight and you just want to start off with, sorry, give me one sec. As opposed to, you just wanted to lose 10 kilos and then maybe start looking at toning after that or whatever. So yeah, fair enough. That's just fat loss. But if one of your goals at the beginning was, you're maybe within 10, 15, even 20 kilos of your ideal weight that you sort of have an idea of, and your goal is to tone, well, you're not going to get toned doing cardio, because the only way to get toned is to get muscle. Pay attention. This is the really important part. The only way to get muscle is to train with weight or resistance training, whatever word you want to use for it. Heavy weights, as in as heavy as possible for you to maintain with good technique and posture, which, by the way, you probably need someone to show you if you've never done it before, because otherwise, obviously, it's easy to hurt yourself. And I see it all the time, unfortunately. We offer, people get offered help, but they refuse it because they're just too smart for it, right? But you need to be doing intense, heavy resistance training with weights for low repetitions and lots of rest. Now, look, you can argue with me till the cows come home about this, about if you're an actual trainer and all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, there are so many other ways of doing it, especially when you've been doing it for a long time. For sure, you've got to mix it up. I'm not talking to someone who here has been training for 3, 4, 5, 6 years and basically just needs to mix it up and try some different things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the newbie who has decided they want to get toned and has come to a gym or has decided to do a program at home. It is not going to cut it for you to be doing bodyweight squats and knee push-ups, right? Okay, knee push-ups maybe for a little while it's still difficult for you, but once that starts to get easier and you're doing 15, 20, 30 of them, then no, it's not working. And this is where I come back to the body pump thing. A lot of people think, oh no, I'm going to go do body pump because I know I need to do some weights-based training to get toned, to get some muscle. So I'm going to go do body pump. No, body pump is an endurance-based weights exercise, and they can play it up whatever way they want, I suppose. But at the end of the day, it is, they can't deny that it is endurance based. It's like 5 minutes per track, right? And there's very little rest in between. The rests are like, 15 to 30 seconds maximum, where you have a little break where you sit and shake it around and go back and keep going. So it is very much endurance based. In one set, you might be doing, I don't even know, I've never even counted it, but it's a lot of repetitions. It's well over sort of that, anywhere 6 to 10, 6 to 12 kind of rep range where you can go really, really heavy and push yourself hard enough that you can lift really heavy, right? And therefore get that muscle growth. And this is the really important part. Your muscles grow not when you're tearing them down, not when you're exercising them, but in the rest that comes afterwards, right? So when you actually go and do your exercise, when you then go home and whatever, and you're resting and you're refueling, that is when your muscles are actually repairing and growing and getting stronger. This is not happening when you're actually doing the exercise. So it doesn't matter at the time how much you can make it burn or whatever it is. That's not really the sign of it actually growing or anything like that. It's the repairing stage. And that means when you're training, you need to give it a chance to repair as well. So in other words, you need to go lift really heavy for fewer repetitions, have a rest, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Look at what the big guys in the gym do, right? They obviously have the advantage of being A, male, and B, having that testosterone that comes with being male. So therefore, they're going to be able to put on muscle a lot easier than you. And by a lot, I mean a lot, as in it's very difficult for females in general to put on a lot of muscle. Some have that genetic advantage that, they find it easier, and that's fine. Everybody's genetically slightly different. But for the most part, it takes a long time and it's hard. And this is where I come back to the main point. Tone takes time. It takes time to grow this kind of muscle. So when girls come in and go, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get bulky and I don't want to get huge. Okay, cool. That's like saying I don't want to learn to drive just in case I become a race car driver, because I don't want to do that. Just in case I just happen to become that good. Same kind of thing when it comes to your weight training, ladies. You don't just become huge accidentally by training even 6-7 times a week like I do, and I'm not huge, you don't just accidentally become huge. That takes a hell of a lot of effort, not to mention probably some kind of supplementation in the terms of the use of steroids, especially if you're female, because our hormones just don't support that naturally. Yeah, okay, genetically, some people might be predispositioned to put on more muscle than others faster, but it's still not overnight. It's still not immediate. You're still going to be able to monitor that as you go and go, yeah, cool, I'm happy with this amount of muscle. I'll scale it back a little bit, and you're not going to suddenly wake up one day and be like, oh my God, I'm She-Hulk. It doesn't work like that, okay? So, well, I've only had one coffee this morning so far, but it's clearly worked, okay? Okay, all right, let me check here. Okay, cool. So, this is why I say toning takes time, because this muscle growth takes time, and that is the only way you're going to get toned. And so this is really important to understand if you are joining a gym. I'm sorry, it's just going to take time. If you're hoping for immediate results in terms of toning, you're not going to get it. If you jump on the cardio and go gung-ho for a month, yeah, for sure, you're going to lose some fat, and therefore you're going to look more toned just because you've gotten a little bit smaller. But long term, it's not going to help you. You haven't gained any muscle. You haven't gained anything that's going to be able to be toned. And so you're just going to probably find yourself in a position where you lose motivation, you stop coming in as much, and because your body's adapted to that level of activity, it's going to very quickly put that fat back on when you stop doing that level of activity, right? I'm sorry to say it. Patience, consistency. This is the shit that will get you somewhere, not just gung-ho, let's do this, let's just go crazy at whatever exercise I can choose. Patience, consistency is what it's going to take, because that's what it takes to get muscle. That's what it takes to get the muscle that you can then tone. And then for sure, you can maybe mix it up in the future and go do some body pump or something. And once you've got the muscle on there, then yeah, it's another way of basically stressing that muscle and making it tighter, making it leaner, all that kind of stuff. But you've got to have the muscle there in the first place. You're not going to gain much muscle from endurance-based activities. That's like people coming into the gym and going, yep, I'm going to go do, my 3 sessions of cardio every week, and I'm also going to throw in 15 to 20 reps of some bicep curls and some whatever, and because I want to tone my arms, so I'm just going to do bicep curls, and then whatever else it is, and I'm going to go do abs because I want to tone my abs, so I'm just going to go do a whole lot of sit-ups. It doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that. In order to get the muscle, in order to get that tone, you need to work that muscle hard. Sitting there and doing your 3 rounds of 20 repetitions of bicep curls coupled with 20 sit-ups, it's just not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. It's not how our body works. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Well, I'm not sorry because I'm helping you right now. I'm telling you this, right? So I'm not sorry because at the end of the day, if you take this on board, you will actually get results finally, right? Okay, so this is what you need to try. If you have been trying to get toned, wrap your head around it. You are not going to get toned when you don't have muscle. You are not going to get muscle from doing cardio and fitness classes where your heart rate's through the roof and you're jumping around and you're sweating like crazy. That's not what builds muscle. Muscle is built under tension, under stress, under weight. That is where you build muscle. You are not going to get huge building this because, as far as I know, you're not eating enough to be, a huge bodybuilder guy or on steroids. If you are, well, then obviously your goals are different, right? But as far as I'm aware, you're not doing that. So therefore, guess what? You're going to get leaner. You're going to get tighter. You're going to get toned from lifting weights, not get huge, right? So that's the first point to make. And so obviously you may or may not need to get some assistance on this. I always recommend assistance purely because at the end of the day, why are you making it so hard on yourself? Are you not worth the help? Are you not worth getting someone to... basically an expert to help you with this? Like you something's wrong with you health-wise, you'll go to a doctor or whoever you trust that is an expert in this field and go get their help, right? Why would you assume that this is any different? You're not an expert in this field, or if you are, well, then you're probably not listening to this. If you're not an expert in this field, why would you not go to someone who is? Someone that A, you can probably get testimonials from or whatever, and B, that you trust and that you'll resonate with and that you trust will tell you the truth, right? But either way, why would you not get the assistance? Like at the end of the day, if it's going to make it easier for you, you can still do it on your own. That's not the point. It's not that you're like I don't know, getting weak and saying, oh no, that's just me saying I can't do it on my own. No, you're still going to do it on your own. You're still the one's going to have to do the work. Trust me, I've never had a client that I've been able to magically gain muscle for them. It doesn't work that way. They still have to do the work. But I can just give them the knowledge and the push and the drive and the extra sort of motivation to get there faster and to get there more effectively, more to the point, right? So there is a little training for today that I hope that you've gotten something really cool out of, because like I said, if more people just understood this, it would just make it so much easier just to know that, look, you're going to have to put up with time, just letting the time pass and putting in the work and not getting disheartened after a month or 2 or even 3. If you've just first started weight training and resistance training, and I know that not everyone will tell you this because they obviously they understand that everyone wants a quick fix, right? But it won't happen quickly. If you've never done resistance or weight training, there is an adaptation phase. There is a phase during which your body is basically physiologically adapting to this kind of training. It's creating new neural pathways. It's creating a system for your body to work off of, right? However, and this is what I just told, actually I've told a client recently that I think grasped this, which just makes me so happy when they do. That if you stick it out for that first sort of 2-3 months, that's the time that it takes for that pathways and everything to be sort of set in. Then what we call your newbie gains are incredible. You will get such fast results in terms of tone and definition compared to someone like myself who's been doing weight training for over a decade. For me to get some kind of gains now is getting harder and harder because I already have so much muscle as a basis, right? So for me, it's like, I'm already sort of at the top, so there's not far to go, naturally, I guess is the word I'm looking for. However, when it's new to you, there is so far for you to go, and therefore that leap from the beginning to getting you to like a moderate stage is incredible. It happens so fast and people just kind of get amazed at it. But it only comes to those who stick it out for those first few months, where you don't see as many results, where if your diet's in check, then yeah, you're going to be losing fat, but you're not going to be seeing that quick change in your body shape, in the tone, in the definition, in the shaping, right? But if you stick it out, it's worth it. And you know what? I actually would not have this any other way, because at the end of the day, I don't want people to just be buying into this idea of quick fixes, because that really shits me up the wall, because anything that comes that quickly and that easily to you, you're not going to value, therefore you're not going to keep it up, right? And therefore you're not really going to get there. And if everybody was like that, I don't really think that that'd be a great world to be in, where everybody just believes that everything that they want should just come absolutely easily on a silver platter to them just because they feel like it at the time. I still believe in hard work. I still believe in showing the fuck up and doing the work and being consistent and earning what you want, right? And so I actually probably wouldn't have this any other way, because at the end of the day, it's very clear who has earned this and who has not, because that is one part that you can't fake. You can't fake the muscle. I mean, for sure you can go get surgery or whatever, but even that, don't get me wrong, like we can tell who's had the surgery and not, because quickly when it happens, right? Anyway, that's just a tangent. So I hope that I have left you with something to think about there, and something that has opened up your eyes a bit about what it actually takes to get toned. And the fact that it's not going to be the cardio, it's not going to be the classes, it's not going to be getting really hot and sweaty and doing some sit-ups and that kind of stuff. It is time under tension. It is heavy weights. It is lifting them properly with right technique and the right posture, and therefore getting the help if you need to, right? But at the end of the day, it's only going to come from you doing the work. As simple as that, okay? So I'm going to leave that there. And now the reason... Yes, now I remembered. I always kind of forget the point of what I'm trying to get to, right? When you're training in this kind of way, when you're doing the weight training and that kind of thing, it becomes very different to you nutritionally than someone who has just a goal of pure fat loss, wants to be like model catwalk stick thin, right? Because they obviously cannot have too much muscle because they need to look a certain way, which is... yeah, I won't even get into that. Let's not open up that can of worms, yeah? Yeah. However, if you want tone and definition and shape, you're going to need some muscle. In order to do that, there is a certain way of eating that's going to be important. For starters, it's not going to be your weight loss shakes or whatever fad diets it is. You're going to have to actually fuel your body in order to be able to build the kind of muscle that you want, which means you're going to have a look at how much protein you're having, how much fat you're having, how much carbohydrate you're having. The more you exercise, the more carbohydrate you need to be having for energy, right? Whereas people who often go on these shake type diets and just want to lose as much body fat as possible, as quickly as possible, all those diets are usually very high carbohydrate, and they're not usually exercising, which is just setting them up for basically cravings and self-sabotage in the future, because their body just isn't using what they're giving them very effectively, right? So when it comes to training in the gym and actually fueling yourself correctly, I do believe that if it fits your macros, or flexible eating, if you've never heard of it before, flexible dieting if you happen to be at the weight loss stage. However, this applies to absolutely everything. So this applies for when you're wanting to gain muscle. This comes when you want to just maintain and maybe do a bit of body recomposition where you're staying around the same size, around the same weight, but you're gaining a little bit more muscle and losing a bit more fat. So just basically getting leaner, getting tighter, more defined, right? Or if you happen to be very small, I've had people before that I've had to get onto diets for muscle and fat gain because they are just too skinny, right? So whichever place it puts you in, counting your macros, if it fits your macros, and your flexible eating kind of diet plan makes it so much easier, because it actually supports you with your training in the gym. It gives you the type of nutrients, macronutrients that you need to get the results you want, and it doesn't cut out any food. So this is the most important part, especially when it comes to fat loss, is just, I see it all the time. People will come in and go, yep, I want to get more toned, so I've just started eating better, and then they run me through basically their rabbit food diet that they've been doing for the last 2 days, and they're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm like, yeah, for how long? For the next week, until you like completely cave and have a binge because you're starving and you're miserable and all this other stuff. That's not what it's about. It's not meant to be that hard. When you're actually counting your macros, you can have all the food that you like. You can just factor it in and you can count it in and it's fine. But you don't have to be cutting out whatever food you enjoy, right? So whether it's fast food, whether it's pizza, whether it's pasta, whether it's burgers, whatever it is, you do not have to be cutting that stuff out. You can actually be eating that stuff as a regular part of your diet and still be getting the results you want. Of course, if you're trying to lose weight, there's going to be a certain amount of energy restriction, right? So you're going to be eating less than what you are now, obviously, in order to lose the weight, right? But it's not meant to be basically setting you up to fail. It's not meant to be you starving. It's not meant to be you having cravings all the time. And when you're actually paying attention to not just your calories, which a lot of people do, where they, all their kilojoules, where they count that amount they're having each day, but when you're actually counting the macronutrients, your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates, you're actually fueling your body correctly so that it's not going to be starving all the time, and so that it's not going to be setting you up for that sort of cycle of cravings and falling apart, basically, right? Cool. Sorry. Okay, so this is what this workshop is about. It's happening in 1 week's time, Sunday, 5th of March from 4 till 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, right? So that's going to be a live workshop. So you need to register for that. And once you're registered, whether or not you make the actual live workshop, that doesn't matter. You'll still get the replay, and everyone that actually registers for this workshop will have the replay for as long as they want, as many times that you want to watch it, which is fine because there's going to be a lot of information, right? I'm going to basically take you through everything that comes into this, including how to work out your numbers, how to then work out an eating plan with them. So you get an actual week of added support with this workshop, which is absolutely incredible. So once the workshop is done, you've got a full week in the private Facebook group to work out your numbers, work out your eating plans, all that kind of stuff. Throw any questions you have at me, ask me any questions, all that kind of stuff. So you have absolute support from me for that 1 week, as well as a VIP option if you feel like, yeah, you know what, I just want to really get an absolute grasp on this for like a full month. There's a VIP option to have another 3 weeks of support as well. So after that 1 week, I'll change things around and keep just the VIPs in there for extra support. Which is just fantastic because it does take a bit of time to get used to. Because just like the weight training, consistency and patience is where it comes in, right? A fad diet where you're starving yourself for a few days, no shit, you're going to lose weight really fast because, hey, you're losing water, you're losing all this kind of stuff. As soon as you start eating back to normal, you're just going to regain it. This is exactly the same. You need to be consistent, you need to be patient, and you need to fucking work for it, right? So they're having that extra help to get you through those first few days, weeks, especially in that first month. If you go the VIP option, it's going to be incredible because you're going to have me to bounce the ideas off and to actually check back on things and go, look, I know, how do I fix this? This isn't working, or am I doing this right? Whatever it is, right? And so the workshop itself is going to be huge. We're going to go through everything in terms of how to work it all out for yourself, how to implement it. You're going to learn why you can eat whatever you want, including all that junk food, including alcohol, as part of your plan, and it's not going to stop you from getting lean or getting muscle or whatever it is that you want, right? So if you want to be a part of this, make sure you jump on anabrooks.com.au/IIFYM, and I'll pop the link in down below just as soon as the live stream's done. So you can jump on there, register now. So it's happening in exactly a week's time. You'll have the replay to watch as many times as you want. If you can't make it live, that's fine. And don't forget, you'll get the week of support afterwards as well to ask me any questions as you implement it and as you work it out. Get ready to just basically have everything that you thought you knew about dieting and making it also hard flipped upside down on its head and just made it easier for you. No self-sabotage, no telling yourself this is bad, this is good, I can have this, I can't have this. It's just not meant to be that hard. It's just not meant to be that hard. For sure, don't get me wrong, I am not going to be telling you how to create an entire diet plan based on donuts and pizza, which you can if you want to. But I know that that's not what you want, because then that's just obvious. How are you going to have the energy? How are you going to have the vitality to create the lifestyle and the body you want if you're constantly just full of processed shit? Like, that's just obvious. But that's not to say that you can't have donuts and pizza as a regular part and not just as these cheat meals and treat meals and all that kind of crap, right? This is about balance. This is about long term. This is about making this work for you, regardless of how you want to eat, whether you want to eat following a vegan diet, whether you want to do paleo, whether you want to do anything else, whatever it is that suits you, this will work, and it will work long term, and you can change it and adjust it for whatever life throws at you, which is the best part. This isn't a diet plan. This is just learning how to eat so that you get to your goals that you want. Plain and simple, right? All right, so make sure you jump on. I'll pop the link down below. Make sure you jump on and register. It's happening next week, next Sunday night. I'm super, super excited to do this with you guys. So I will see you soon. If you have any questions about anything from today, please let me know as well, because I know I covered a lot of information about training and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any questions, pop them down below. I'll check back later.